Purest defense. That would work if he wasn't up against a 4-gate, but he was. Two games in a row.
It was one of those things where, like, I'm going to try to cut a lot of corners in order to all-in you. And it's one of those things where Purity left without a GG, so he must be angry. Or something, or his... man.
Yeah.
His G button definitely works because he turned things into Warp Gate.
Yeah.
Or actually, he didn't get the chance to because his 4th game would finish just as the rush was happening.
Oh, too
man.
soon.
Oh, wow. That was an interesting set of games, to say the least. But now we have a PVZ, and it's going to be an interesting series. I use the word interesting to euphemize whatever I'm actually feeling. But I actually mean interesting in this case because we have Bly.
Oh, yeah.
Bly from Team Acer, a ZVP specialist in some of the weirdest, wackiest builds you ever see.
This guy came up with some crazy builds last time. He killed Boyo 2 games to win the series with a 1-base play, which was 1 base, get a fast lair, send out 4 drones, and then Spinecrawler rush my opponent.
Yeah, I mean, he plans 3, 4 Spinecrawlers and then follows it with a Baneling bust.
Yeah.
Right afterwards. It's not like I'm just going to get ahead and then tech to lair and do like the Nesty push where you do Hydras and you eventually pick your opponent apart. It's like, no, I'm just going to completely siege you from start to finish. And we'll see how Bly ends up following up. Now, last time we were on Ohana, he did a proxy hatchery to block the wall while trying to go for a speedling run by. And that's just standard Bly. I mean, you can't really predict what he wants to do. And I think Crane does not know about his kind of style whatsoever because Crane's been practicing mostly with Koreans. So
yeah.
It's going to be really tough. I mean, how would you kind of measure that kind of... How would you even be prepared for that unless you heard of Bly?
You don't.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't. I think the best way to actually train for that is just have people do whatever they want against you. Like, you just go into even off-race. Off-race is a really good way to actually prepare for any player that is just absolutely crazy. Because what you end up doing is starting to think based on just like new information. Like, you're not familiar with, let's say, you're 6 minutes in, when do I actually put down an extractor? You have to think really fast. I shouldn't say extractor, but when do you put down spine crawlers? You know, you have to think really fast and start to make your own relative timings so that you're able to actually compete with your opponent. You know, some sort of, you know, gosh, how do I actually want to say this? Frodan, help me out. This is when you normally help me out.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I wasn't paying attention to what you said. I was looking around the map for something interesting to say as well.
Oh, well, okay. I was saying that to prepare for someone like Bly, you off-race.
So yeah. I mean, you know something that's really good to prepare for someone like Bly is to play a lot of ladder because you're really used to people who try to do that one-time build that might work. But the thing is, Bly has so many of those builds that he can keep doing this nonstop with unconventional builds.
But, you know, I think the reason why I say off-racing is good is because it actually tests your, I want to say, your crisis management a lot, just like a ton, because you have to have these new things that you have to think about. It's like, how do I defend against this? I have 5 seconds to react. Go. And that's going to really see if you can keep up with someone like Bly, who is not necessarily the most, you know, macro insane player, not necessarily the best micro, but definitely throws you off and you're forced to play his game.
I think what I like the most about off-racing is that you learn not just the strengths of another race, but the limitations as well. You see what Zerg can really do, because a lot of people say, well, this build is so powerful. And then you start using it and you feel like it's actually really weak against certain things, and then you sometimes lose and you say, well, actually, if I just prepare for this, it's they can't do much. For example, if you learn how to keep Zerg on one base, you realize the things that they can do is very limited.
Yeah.
It's a Nidus, it's one base something gimmicky that involves gas like Mutas or Infestor, and you realize, well, all I have to do is just shut this down and I can win. And that's kind of what helps win.
Frodan, have you ever actually done that? Like,
contain a Zerg to one base?
No, like you said, oh, I don't know how to beat this, so you actually play the opposite race?
Oh yeah, when I was first starting, I didn't know how to stop a Reaper. So I went and made Terran, and then they made something called a Stalker. No, and this is when I first ever played StarCraft II, because I didn't have RTS experience, and this was like back in 2010. And I was like, well, how do I stop this unit? Because I only could make Zealots at the time, and so I made a Stalker and beat me.
You know, I used to do that all the time, and it was the most depressing thing in the world. because what would happen is I was like, oh my god, this is so powerful. It's OP. It's the most ridiculous opening that you could possibly do. I go to play the other race, I do that strategy, and I lose every single time. I'm like, but it was so OP when I was facing it.
I see MC do like the 7 gate. I'm like, how come my 7 gate never works?
Yeah, right? it's seriously.
They always have their spines do more damage than this. Like MC somehow gets like a nerf on Zerg right before he plays or something. It's something. It always doesn't work out for me. But you know what? Something that always seems to work is robo-based plays on this map. A lot of people like it. You can see that Crane opened up with Stargate to initially pressure, but he's not going to really commit to it too much. He's already got a robo planted to kind of follow it up.
Yeah.
But I think that's the style nowadays in PvP, to try to like feign a lot of Stargate play, but then go directly.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, Void Rays really give you every sort of indicator. You can't do like all the all-ins that you want to do as Zerg, because actually Void Rays do output a significant amount of damage, and if you have something like Force Shields to just hold off any amount of army, then you're really not going to be too cost efficient like that. I mean, there's no real way for you to do critical blows as Zerg if you are doing a style like that. So Void Rays all around really good, but do put you behind a little bit economically if you're able to play it very efficiently and you know, not take as many losses in this early game stages. Then yeah, of course it can be quite significant. We're going to see, obviously the first queen is going to go down here, but the second queen is going to chase everything over here. If you had my creep spread, Bly, you would not be in a position where you lose anything.
If you had my creep spread, then you would never have to worry about that. But
and Hydroden going up again. This is Bly's signature move.
Yeah, Bly actually really loves Hydras in the ZVP. In fact, it's not like you would think that he's going Hydras in response to Stargate, but no, Bly is going Hydras because he just loves Hydras in ZVP.
Yeah, this is a standard, man.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh yeah, like I'm going to do it Stargate. It's like, no, Bly would do it regardless, even if he was making straight Colossus at this point. And Bly does, you know, repel these units, and in the end, I think Crane could have done more damage, but his Phoenixes were not actually with his Void Ray initially. And so as a result, he kind of struggles with that. But now that he saw the Hydras, he doesn't really have to even do too much more with his Stargate, because in Crane's mind, he says, yes, this is exactly where I want Zerg. But realistically, Bly's like, yes, I want you to make Colossus when I make Hydras.
And you know what these Hydras actually do? It really stops Protosses from actually saying, hey, I'm going to go for an Immortal timing directly after this. Because who actually will do an Immortal timing directly after Hydras, right? You have to be absolutely insane to pull something like that off.
Whoa.
And look at this, just making a slow, treacherous march across the map with these Hydras. Will he be able to do enough damage, Frodan?
Well, there are force fields out, and force fields can really keep the Hydras at bay, but one thing to consider is that, you know, because Crane went for such an early Stargate and checked directly to Robo and Colossus, he doesn't have a lot of ground units. And in fact, his third attempt has been completely canceled, and now you can see that Bly's really pushing up here, but ramp on force field on the ramp can really put a weird mix into things, because Bly really can't have all of his Hydras attacking. In fact, his Zergans aren't even really engaging, and I don't think Bly can really push in at this point, but he already sees everything Protoss intends. He knows he's going for Colossus.
You know, this is kind of smart here, I think, from Bly. Bly is actually doing this attack to strictly deny the third base. From here, I don't think he has any continuation. Actually, attacking into this would obviously be the worst move possible, but oh my god, he's way too far off creep. And he wasn't retreating this whole time. That's why all of these Hydras are going to get picked off eventually. They're just way too slow.
And Bly loses a lot of gas by losing those Hydras, but he's remaking more, so don't worry. We're going to see more Hydras soon. And no, it's nothing against Bly. He makes Hydras work because he usually gets good positions, but you need to retreat in that scenario. And Bly, a little bit of a misstep there, loses a lot more than he should.
Yes, sirree. And from here, he's just going to tech up. You know, I like Hydras a ton, man. I think they're so good. It's just they cost so much, right? There's so much that goes into it.
And they have low hit point. Really low hit point. Well, and also they're slow.
They're slow. They're like a bad siege tank. Yeah, really bad siege tank.
I guess so.
They cost so much. They're slow. They have bad range.
Siege tanks have awesome range, man.
No. I mean, Hydras do.
Yeah.
That's why I said a bad siege tank.
I guess you could say that. I would say that the Hydra serves what the Colossus does in a sense, where it has a lot of high damage potential, but if you don't get in good position, Hydras just feel useless. Same thing with Colossus. If your Colossus are out of position, even if you get the AoE hitting stuff, sometimes Colossus hits geysers, buildings, even units that are flanking, and they're not really focusing, and you have to really utilize them correctly. And they're very fragile as well. That's kind of my comparison, but I can see where you can.
I think their DPS is awesome, though.
It's
obviously
sick.
So if you can actually plug behind spine crawlers, they're like, you know, spine crawlers aren't really known for having great DPS, but obviously Hydras do. So if spine crawlers can tank you the damage, you can actually take really good defensive positions, I think. But of course, we don't see any spine crawlers down at the time. I'm just trying to like theory craft how these Hydras actually work into this particular build, because it's obviously really, really weird for everybody to see this. Hydra Zergling keeping you safe until the later stages. And it feels like, I don't know, but it feels like Bly is just going to get absolutely trounced in this next attack.
It feels like Bly's Hydra play is a direct answer to a lot of Immortal Blink Stalker Sentry play, because, you know, the Hydras are really good because you have the force fields keeping the Hydras somewhat safe, and you can kind of pick apart Mortals because Hydras have such a high attack rate. They actually shoot twice as fast as a Colossus, so you're able to, you know, add a lot of hits in, shred that shield quicker, and just, you know, Zergling's, of course, good at tanking Stalker and Immortal damage. But at the same time, he's been doing well against the Colossus-based army as well, because he gets the Corruptors in a good position. And because Colossus are so expensive, as long as you disable them, Hydras, if you can protect them long enough, still do pretty good DPS. So, I don't know, like, Bly's is one of those players that make it work, despite the fact that it looks so wrong on paper.
Yeah. I think that's a testament to his skill, actually.
Yeah.
Greater Spire is almost finished at this point, so we might have Broodlords coming up very, very soon. And look at that huge bank. There it is.
Yeah, saving for Broodlords. 7 Broodlords on the way, although the right-hand expansion just finished. Bly is more than happy to oblige. Crane is a pretty scary army. 5 Colossus, lots of Stalkers, and a couple Sentries to boot, giving him the ability to Guardian Shield and Force Field. In some cases, Guardian Shield just as valuable against Hydras as Force Fields.
Now remember, Bly actually doesn't have the capabilities of confronting this army because he has no Infestors on the field. Infestors are actually super important to actually confront any form of Broodlord army, or excuse me, to confront any form of Protoss army. Broodlords just need that support unit to be able to be as effective as we've seen so many different times.
Well, Crane is getting pulled back and forth while trying to get his 4th expansion. He is getting a fleet beacon so he can get a mothership out as soon as possible. And with that, I guess Crane's just going to sit back and play really passive, despite him having, you know, I think he had a pretty nice window timing because Blues were just morphing, but now Bly's just going to take his bases and try to play a little bit more passive as a result, making a lot more Zergling, loses his Zerglings over at the 4th base of Protoss, and now remaking them, sensing an imminent push. And if he can crush this army once, this is a really expensive Protoss army, and Bly can really continue to push, especially since he doesn't have a mothership to follow up and keep him safe. So if Bly does this right, he wins. But if he loses his army once as well, I mean, loses all those Broodlords, how can you replace that?
Yeah, that's how a lot of times EVP is. I mean, it's so razor thin. If you lose the big battle, you lose the game. If you win the big battle, you win the game. That's why I think these players are dodging each other so hardcore. I mean, they're not really giving each other some huge time to actually attack in. And it's weird to say that, too, considering we have had Hydras in this early game stage. Zergling's going to go into, it looks like nope, just the natural. Just the natural, because those other Zerglings at 4th base got cleaned up very easily.
Oh, but still picks off some drones and halts the mining of gas. Yeah, which is kind of significant, considering that at this point, Crane would like to start incorporating some Archons into his composition to help deal with things. And at the same time, Bly is still buying the time he needs to just morph an obscene amount of Broodlords. He's going to have 15 Broodlords, which is really tough for a Protoss player to handle if Zerg had Infestors, where there's only 1 Infestor on the field.
I'm seeing it. And just to let you guys know, Dark would not approve of this at all.
Dark would not. He would say, you know what, you have way too many drones. 75 drones.
Let's replace all of those with Infestors.
Actually, that's not even fair. Dark made a lot of drones as well.
Yeah.
One thing that Bly's doing that I really like is preemptive spine crawlers, realizing that different areas of pushing can be easily protected if you have spines, making sure that Stalkers can't blink underneath without taking heavy damage. But Bly has to be very careful because, again, Mothership is now about to pop. And +3 is going to hit as well. So this gives Crane a small timing window where he can hit as soon as Vortex is up.
Crane
should line up about nicely.
Very scared about those Zerglings going into the natural, going to come all the way back with every single one of his units. I don't suggest doing this for him.
No, I don't suggest that either. But at the same time, Crane's just being so passive. I'm almost to the point where if he doesn't go soon, he's being a little bit overly passive. Because, I mean, hypothetically, Zerg never has to attack into Protoss late game. In fact, that's how you bunch up your units. That's how you die. And then a lot of people kind of actually say that as you get to the eventual Infestor, Broodlord, or Corruptor composition, almost nothing can confront if you have mass spines everywhere. And that's why we have games like Demago vs. Hero in NASL Season 3. It goes an hour and a half, and Demago says, I don't actually have to attack you. And Protoss is like, well, actually, I can't attack you either. And Hero just leaves the game.
Yeah. It's like, well, that's it. I'm fed up. This one Archon being super fat. Very glutinous Archon, just blocking that huge way where a pylon could actually fit in over here. Warp Prism play for the first time is going to be used, but there's nothing to actually warp in.
He's got 3. Oh, I thought he had High Templars in it, but yeah, I mean, he's going to drop sentries and I guess harass this base for a little bit, but Hydras are coming in, and that's going to be very bad news for this Warp Prism.
Oh.
And I guess he wanted to trade unit supply out so he can warp in units and get more Archons, but still, yeah, there's a better way to do it. I think at least try to like take out a drone or two.
Yeah. And here we go. The big Broodlord flock is moving on over to the left-hand side. Both these players still have yet to confront. This is absolutely crazy. Let's look at the army tab really quick. You can see how much investment is in both of them. In this position, I actually love Protosses that just wait until this mothership is maxed at 200 energy, and then you just go attack once, recall.
Oh, play defensive.
Yeah, play defensive.
And then you can actually do things like a couple of Warp Prisms out and have Dark Templars, like sniping, building tech, and then kind of fall back.
God, Frodan, we have like the same exact style. How are you cheesing so much on ladder, man?
I don't cheese on ladder. You yell at me every time I do, and you're like,
I hate
macro.
It. All right.
I need to learn how to cheese, Andre. Actually, I'm so bad at cheesing.
No, you don't need to, bro. You cheese economically. How about that?
That's true. I go 3 hatch before pool every time.
Oh, that's BM, bro.
I'm gonna cheese. That's how I'm gonna cheese.
That's fine though. I'll take that cheese as long as it's end game cheese, man. Like you're trying to get an advantage later on. I don't mind that.
Wow. My game is actually starting to lag just by looking at the mothership. It's like the glory of the mothership is preventing me from being able to function completely. My replay is slowing down, Andre. And as a result, you can see that Crane is taking a very aggressive posture. Has to be kind of careful because now it's to the point where Infestors could be on the field and a Neural Parasite can come out.
You know what we're going to see?
A mass recall into the base of Zerg.
Oh my gosh. There it is.
Oh! Big recall and catches all the units, and now Bly's out of position. He's going to try to fungal and drop Infested Terrans. And now the Broodlord are engaged into the battle. But is there a Vortex ready to hit all of the units? The Mothership can't move anywhere because the Fungal's keeping it down. Plays very good job by thus far. But Fungal doesn't land again. As a result, the Mothership moves forward and lands a Vortex. A lot of Broodlords are sucked in. The Archons are moving forward as well. We're going to see the aftermath in just a second when Bly is warping in a lot more units back at home. His Warp Prism has died. A key kill for the Zerg army. But how is this
he moved command. He moved command all of his Archons back. And because of that, he wasn't able to actually splash all the damage on top of those Broodlords. And the Broodlords all survived. Oh my gosh. Bly is taking a massive advantage. And now the Corruptors pop out. Goodbye, Mothership. And you know what? He wanted this Mothership to die?
Actually, the Mothership escaped. Okay. Out of all the units that managed to escape, they had Blink Stalkers, he had Colossus that could traverse the cliffs. And the Mothership is the one that gets out. And that's not a very good much. Oh, the Corruptors are now on the chase because that Mothership is not getting away.
Look at that. The Mothership has the same AI as the Phoenixes. They can attack while moving.
It's moving shot. That's pretty cool.
Whoa, that's game-changing, bro. Now you can kite something like an Overlord.
You can kite an Overlord. You can kite a Broodlord, too.
Yeah, you know, give it infinite Overlords, and you will never be able to kill a Mothership.
Kite a Battle Cruiser, I think, as well. Maybe a Raven.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
That'd be so fun. No, not with the Raven speed buff.
Frodan.
We see 3 carriers on the way, actually. what's kind of funny to note is that Bly does have a good number of Corruptors that don't have that strong upgrades. And carriers are pretty good, but the thing is you need something to buffer because carriers can't take damage. You need Void Rays, you need some Stalkers to kind of weaken the Corruptors as well. And Crane's got neither. He's just got pure carriers on the field with a couple High Templars and Zealots. Zealots are not good against Broodlords, let me tell you.
No.
Let me tell you, Andre.
They can kite Zealots forever.
Wow.
And they don't even have a moving shot.
Zealots don't have a moving shot?
No, Broodlords.
That's right. Imagine if Broodlords did have a moving shot.
Oh my god.
It'd be like one of those things you just zone. No matter what happens, you're just moving around and Broodlords just keep shooting Broodlings at whatever is close to you.
Oh, man. Now, Bly is going to take a pretty big Zealot count here. Total of 17. But not really going to matter much. It's just going to be one big attack yet again. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, Protoss is so slow to actually remax. You can see a ton of High Templars over here and carriers.
Yes.
There are currently 5 carriers out in the field, not that many. And Bly somehow with this Hydra opening,
man,
he's going to win this game, it looks like.
Yes, I mean, Bly's going to work on the remainder of the production. He's even using Changelings to make it difficult for any ground units to come down. That is so cheeky. You can see a huge Zealot counterattack, and this is what you don't see all the time. A Desperation Charge Zealot attack to kind of draw back the Broodlords, but at this point, Bly is, yeah, he's going to lose a lot of production here, but at the same time, he's got no real answer. The carriers are trying to build up en masse with the High Templar storming to kind of buy time. Crane's going to have one last attempt, and his army supply is actually not that low. He's got 100 supply, and that's because he has a lot of carriers out. But once these carriers are gone, that'll be it. Will Bly be able to deal with it? Oh, but he left his... he's leaving his Broodlords way out of position, and the carriers are running away.
Run away!
Oh, wow. That was a fantastic opportunity to kill the Broodlords, and Crane may have missed it. Man.
TT.
That is quite unfortunate for a Protoss player, because, of course, Crane doesn't see what we see. And we see that 16 Corruptors are not with the carrier army. In fact, they keep running back. I think they sense a counterattack, but there's no real counterattack from Protoss.
Okay. And both these players are pretty spent at this point. You can see, of course, the Protoss is barely mining off of 13 Harvesters, but look at this. Bly's only mining off of 27 Harvesters. So for all that fantastic play that we saw previously, I mean, Bly is not nearly as far ahead as he should be, but still, as we speak, 4 Infestors on the way out with Neural Parasite. Neural Parasite definitely very helpful. The High Templars are going to throw a wrench into that quite considerably.
Crane's going to try to expand once more and take the western half of Ohana. And Bly has also this expansion completely guarded, but he kind of needs to protect it, and a lot of changes are moving towards his opponent, trying to see if he can spot unit composition and position. Now the big thing is Broodlord Corruptor is very, very immobile.
Oh my god!
Oh, he catches all the carriers on a fungal. You're going to chain fungal as well. That'll be huge, but the Infestors can't get too close because of the High Templars can feedback. So in the end, it took off just a couple of shields, which can regenerate, but he lands another fungal as well.
Oh,
a storm to kind of zone off the
goodbye,
units.
High Templars.
But yikes, he lands a huge fungal on the High Templars as well.
And that's all it takes. One fungal on all those High Templars, and they're dead. The Broodlords are going to isolate them down. And it is GG. Bly pushing in here. There it is. And he will take game number 1. Well played. Very well played, considering the openings. Unbelievable. I'm going to do Hydras in every single one of my matches, Frodan.
That's right, you do Hydras in ZVT and ZVZ. And now you have Hydra built in ZVP. Bly making it work. We'll find out if he's able to make it work for the rest of the series when we come back. After a quick commercial break, don't go anywhere. Game number 2 right after this.